Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel today. This is a men clothing YouTube channel where we teach you how to use patterns to create unlimited design. We're going to be making this very particular design. As you can see, that area of the armhole where the sleeve was attached, the collar part, the other part of it that has the asymmetric neckline. This is what the back looks like. So if that's what you want to learn how to make, keep watching this video to the very end. In this channel, we teach you how to use patterns to create unlimited designs in tailoring. Let's head straight to it. So you'll be needing your basic bodice, front, half scale in full, and also your sleeve. So I'm going to head to label my sleeve front and back. And of course, that line is to dictate my center sleeve. So from the center sleeve, I'm going to be joining it to the front part of the front bodies. The front sleeve to the front bodies like so. Okay, you're going to join into this part like so. Whichever part you want your collar to be, you're going to be joining it like so. So I went ahead to mark out 2 inches. Now if you watch closely from the picture on top of the screen, which is actually what we are recreating, you'll find that the sleeve did not start from the tip of the shoulder. So some part of the sleeve was taken into the collar, whereas the sleeve started from somewhere around like an off shoulder. So the collar took some part of the sleeve. So that is what we are trying to create now. And I marked it like this. So I'm going to be tracing out the whole of this part, which I already did. And you want to label carefully so you know where to attach it properly. I did my labeling, okay. Then I'll go ahead to attach it like so at the front bodies. Now, having done that, I'm going to be setting the sleeve aside, of course. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do auto subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you'll be the very first person to know whenever I post new videos, okay? So I'm gonna head to tape it down, and this is what it looks like. Heading over to the next step, we're going to be putting a fresh pattern paper underneath. I'm using another color so you guys can see it properly. Now you're going to be you're going to squaring the line upwards. Now, the fact that I brought my line like so, depending on how much you want yours to be, you can tilt it a little bit outwards. Now, from the very shoulder line, we have 2 inches upwards. So I have to mark an additional 2 inches, making the whole line that I squared 4 inches. So that very standing part of this collar is going to be 4 inches. Okay, the very standing part is going to be 4 inches. You can decide to make yours bigger, but do not make it too long so you don't go overboard. Now from the center of my shoulder slope, I'm going to be marking a line all the way down to meet my bust point so I can create my shoulder princess seam on both sides. So this is what the pattern is looking like, okay? Having done that now, I'll go ahead to open up my side bust dart. So we create our shoulder princess seam for this very particular part. You can label left and right so you know where your collar is going to be. I don't know if I should call this an insert band, but this was not actually inserted. It came together with the body. So I don't know if it's right to call this design an insert band collar, So here I'm creating my shoulder princess seam like so. So we've created that of this area, and this is what it looks like. And now I'm going to be contouring my underbust. Of course, you cannot make a bustier without contouring your underbust. That very contour of the underbust is going to give a very beautiful feminine fit because your bustier is going to come under your bust and give you that nice contour shape of a woman before fitting at the waist. So now we are contouring at the underbust. And that is what I'm doing. I marked 1 inch from the center of my underbust, or from your bust apart measurements at the line of your underbust, 1 inch on both sides. Then you connect it like so to the bust point and then to the waistline to meet the dart at the waistline, like so. So this is what I'm doing right now. So this is what it looks like, okay? This is what your pattern is going to look like at this very stage. Now, having done that, now we'll head back to the collar design. So for that asymmetric neckline area, I'm going to be marking how deep I want it to be. And at this point, I marked 4.5 inches. You can mark whatever you want, but do not mark something that is going to be showing your cleavages, because it will not look decent and nice. So I've marked the shape of my neckline. Here, you're going to be artistic, okay? To draw the shape of a neckline, you're going to be artistic. So having done that now, this is what it looks like. And now, because this part of the shoulder is cut out, I don't know if you understand what I mean by cut out. It's not at the basic. A whole lot of thing has gone out of it. So you need to contour that part so it does not gap. Okay? Whenever you have a cutout neckline, a cutout whatever, especially at the front bodies, you need to contour it so it does not gap. So now we are going to be contouring that part so the neckline does not gap. The asymmetric neckline does not gap. So having done this now, I've marked the dart from that portion of my neckline. Now I've marked my bust arc. The bust arc is going to help me to determine where I'm going to be imputing the dart of that neckline contour. So for the neckline contour, I'm going to be marking 0.5 inches. That is the maximum. You can use 0.4, but 0.5 inches maximum. And then this is the way I'm going to be connecting that 0.5 inches, like so. So this is what it looks like. This is what our contour dart for the neckline looks like. And then we'll go ahead to start doing our cutting out our neckline the way it wants to be. But then I felt like reducing the neckline, like bringing it down a little bit. Of course, it's not going to show any cleavage, then I felt like bringing it down a little bit. You can leave it at the 4.5, wherever you feel like it's not going to show your cleavage. You just want it to be obvious that it's an asymmetric neckline, okay? So once you've contoured, you can cut it out. Then I went ahead to cut it out like so. I also go ahead to remove the excess paper at the other side of the pattern, like so. Now, I made a similar tutorial like this, but that one is an insert band 1 year ago. I'm going to be dropping the link of that tutorial in the comment section. In that tutorial, I slashed and spreaded the collar for more fullness. So you can actually slash and spread this particular one, starting from where the drop shoulder started. Drop shoulder, what I mean by drop shoulder is that part, that 2 inches of the sleeve. You can actually slash and spread it up onto the collar area for more fullness if you desire. So I'll drop the link to that tutorial in the comment section so you can go check out that very video to give you an idea of what I mean by the slash and spread. Remember, if you want to slash and spread this very part of the collar for more fullness, you're going to be slashing and spreading the part where the sleeve is, where that 2-inch sleeve, kind of a drop shoulder is. That's where you're going to be doing your slash and spread. But here I do not slash and spread. So if you want more fullness, you want it to be more, structured, you want it to be more draw attention, it's going to be more obvious, then you want to slash and spread it. So now I've removed everything, the contour, and this is what our neckline looks like. Of course, we are going to be dealing with this part now. I want this to be higher, okay? I want this very part to be higher. If you watch closely at the picture, you find out that the shoulder princessing went into the collar. So I also want mine to go into the collar. Then I went ahead to add an additional pattern paper like so. Also, it's going to be helping this very part to be structured, to give it that standing effect. So I added an additional pattern paper to it like so. And we are going to be increasing the length of that very particular area. So now this is optional, but I increased mine by 2 inches. I think anything 2 inches, 2.5. Please do not go overboard. It's going to look somehow. So now I'm trying to decide on how the shape of the neckline is going to be. And I arrived at this. Like I said, when you're drawing the neckline, you have to be artistic. Who knows? Your artisticity is what will determine the shape of your neckline. So if you do it well, yours can actually come out better than the one on the thumbnail or the picture on top of the screen. So be artistic and be intentional while drawing the neckline. Because what you do is what you're going to sew. Whatever you draw out is what you're going to sew. So this is what it actually looks like. Like I said, you can slash and spread the whole of this white part for more fullness. You can slash and spread it, like by the time you're done with this pattern now, you can detach that white part, slash and spread it, and fix it back so you can cut it out in full. Or you can still leave it this way. If you leave it this way, you're still going to have the same result. But then the slashing and spreading part of this part of the sleeve, the collar that went into the drop shoulder of the sleeve, will give you more standing effects. Like I said, I'll drop a tutorial in the comment section that is going to link you to that very particular video so you understand what I mean by the slash and spreading on that side. So now we are creating the shoulder princess seam on this area. Having done that, this is what it looks like. This is what our front pattern is going to look like. The whole of the front, this is what it's going to look like. Now let's head straight to the back. Of course, you'll be needing your basic back pattern, like so. And please always impute your shoulder dart. Here also, I do not impute my shoulder dart. Please always impute your shoulder dart. Very necessary. Always impute your shoulder dart. This pattern is actually something I drafted a very long time ago. I didn't redraft it. It's like a pattern I already had. So please, when you're drafting, always impute your shoulder dart. For the back, especially always impute your shoulder dart. Because now we are going to be creating a shoulder princess seam and we need the shoulder dart. So now I'm going to be tracing this part also, the part of the back also. We are going to be tracing it out. So basically we are doing everything we did to the front, to the back at that side. So when we sew them together, they are going to align. Okay. So I added an additional pattern paper. I'm going to be using the front to check so that they are in line, okay? Having done that, I'll go ahead to mark it out with my ruler. So I'm checking how many inches we have for that collar, and it's actually 4. So for the back also, I'll go ahead to impute 4. The back can actually be higher than the front, but you see that very line, that very part has to be the same because that's where you're joining. So the level has to be the same, but every other part can actually be higher than that of the front. But you see this very part can actually be the same thing. Sorry, this very part must be the same because that's where you're going to be joining this very neckline together, the front and back. So it has to align. But every other part, the back can be different. Okay, every other part can be different, but that part has to be the same with the front. So when you're joining, it's going to align. Now I've drawn in my line for the princess seam, and I made sure that these two also align because you're going to be joining the shoulders together at that point. So like I said, always impute your back dart. Very necessary. Here I didn't impute it. If you had imputed your back dart, you also be doing this for your shoulder princess seam. But then for the fact that the dart is there, when you sew, you're going to be having a nicer fit than just cutting it out straight. Okay, so that's what I was trying to explain here. But since I didn't do it, I'll go ahead to just cut out. So then I'll go ahead to, I actually wrote back dart. So when I'm sewing it up, I will impute the back dart. Maybe when I'm cutting it out on the fabric, I'll go ahead to impute the back dart. Not maybe, definitely I'll have to. 1/2 inch on both sides. So when I cut out, I'll impute the 1/2 inch on both sides. But it's necessary you do it on the fabric. You're going to be having more fit when you do it on your paper rather. So basically, same thing we did for the front. That is what we are doing for the back. Like I said, the back collar can be higher than the front, but make sure it is the same at that point. This drop shoulder point where the back and the front collar is going to be joined. This very point, make sure that the length is the same. Then every other part, the back can be higher. So I'm going ahead to do this right now. Another thing is, when you're cutting this out on paper, when you're drafting it, you know that is a full now. You're working with the full bodies, with the full upper scale. It's no longer the half of it. So be sure that you're doing the right side facing right side. So when you sew, you don't find out that you've made a mistake. Or when you cut on your fabric, you've made a mistake. Be sure that you're cutting in a way that when you sew it, right side will be facing right side. And when you turn it up, it's going to come out nice. You see what I mean as we go ahead. I actually used the front of the back to draft the pattern. So when I was trying to impute the paper together, this very part now went to the back instead of the front. It became the back of it. I don't know if you get. So you have to be very considerate of that while drafting your pattern, because this whole thing can be a whole lot tricky. What I mean is that you don't want the front of your fabric to be at the back simply because it's the way you drafted it. So you have to draft it in a way that the front of your fabric is going to be the front and the back will be the back. So when you're drafting, put that into consideration. The problem is actually not from the paper. The problem will come from you cutting the pattern paper on your fabric. Okay, whatever you're doing, please through it with the front as if you want to sew, and make sure that everything is in alignment and is okay before you cut out on your fabric after you've drafted your pattern. So now this is what that area of the back looks like. The shoulder dart of the back looks like. Okay. I'm going ahead to remove the whole of the waist dart. Same thing also I'll go ahead to do for this very particular part. Like I said, the back must not have this particular design. The back can actually be, so long as the shoulders align, the shoulders of both sides align, you can use a rounded neckline at the back. It must not really have the asymmetric design at the back also. You can use a rounded neckline for the back, okay? It mustn't have an asymmetric back design. You can use a rounded neckline for the back and it will still come out nice, so long as the shoulders align. It will still come out nice. So I'm going to have to join the front together. Joining it together with my tape. This is the way you're going to be sewing it. You want to sew your shoulder princess seam starting from the collar area all the way down to the waistline. So this is what it looks like. Okay. Of course, in your sleeve, you're going to be taking off those parts that you have joined to the bodies. So the remaining part of the sleeve, which will look like an off-shoulder sleeve, is what you're going to be joining, just like the way it is in the picture at the top of the screen. Like I said, the back can actually be a rounded neckline. You can take it like, you can swoop it from that very particular side where the collar is not, all the way to the collar. You can just give it a C curve, like a round curve neckline at the back. You must not really be asymmetric, okay? The back must not really be asymmetric. So here it is now. You want to join these two parts together for front and back. So you can see the mistake I was talking about, that I had to use the front as the back and the back as the front for the back pattern. So be careful while cutting on your fabric so you don't make same mistake on the fabric. But once you've cut it out on your pattern paper, on your fabric, you will align it, okay? There's no problem with the pattern. when you're cutting on the fabric, be sure that you're cutting the right side to be together. So see the part of the sleeve where you're going to be joining that your off-shoulder sleeve that you've already removed some part of it, okay? So I'm going to have to join the sides of it together like so now. So I'm going to have to join this part of the sleeve. As you can see, you want to make sure that the two sleeves align. Once this part of the dress that does not have the collar, so long as the shoulder area align, the neckline can be anything. Once the shoulder aligns, the neckline can be any design. So be artistic while drawing your neckline for the front and for the back. So long as it aligns, your neckline can be anything and it will give the nice fit. As you can see, the shoulders are in alignment. So your neckline can be anything beautiful and it will give the nice fit. But for the sake of this tutorial, this is what we have. Okay, so you guys, this is what we are having right now. This is what it looks like. Thank you for watching, and I'll definitely see you in my next video. Okay, if you love this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Bye.